Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for Spring Cleaning Your Home and Your Mind. I am so excited to have Camille Horine here with me tonight or today in order to share a little bit with us about what it is that she does and her philosophies on organizing, creating space, and creating a good energy flow. And I hope we'll get into all of that. I know we will. So just before we get started, I want to share her official bio. Camille Horine is married and a mother of a fluffy butt Pomeranian, a 6-pound male Yorkie, and a cat that's even bigger than he is. She has an extensive background in personalized service and a history of reliability, consistency, and trustworthiness through her decades as a cosmetologist and salon owner. As CEO, chief enthusiastic organizer of her company Order in Space, she offers hands-on residential organizing, phone clutter coaching, and AHA speaking engagements. She's a sister to the wise and welcomes transformation through inquiry and curious observation. And I would just like to share my experience of Camille. I met her about, I'm going to say 2.5 years ago now at a networking event. And she was one of those people when you walk into a room and you just kind of hone in and just recognize that you really want to get to know someone. So we connected. We had, I think it was breakfast, and it was like a 2-hour-long meeting, and just immediately connected with her energy. She's so positive. She's always got a smile on her face, a positive attitude, and I just really appreciate her company. So welcome, Camille. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. What a nice introduction. Thank you.
Yes, you are so welcome. Mm-hmm. So let us know, like you've told me, we've had some conversations before about the first time that you kind of recognized that you love organizing. And I'd love for you to share that story with everyone.
Well, I shall. So I was a babysitter, as a lot of young girls were. And when I would babysit this one family, their kids went to sleep and they were still out at the restaurant or wherever they were doing, I started organizing their house, and namely their kitchen cabinets. And like, what kid does that? So when I decided to become a professional organizer, I thought, where's this coming from? And so I think that was the beginnings. And then, so, from then on, I think I've always just liked, I don't like to waste time. So that's a big thing, is I don't like to waste time. That really frustrates me. So when you're organized, you have a better chance of not wasting time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just love that story, because I think we've talked about that a couple of times, and how you would be down in the kitchen cabinets organizing the pots and pans and the plastic containers after the kids went to bed.
Nesting them. And I remember, you were smaller, so I remember crawling into the back of the cabinet space, and you know how pots and pans clank, clank, clank. I have a recollection of that. And I don't know what the homeowners thought when they came home that I had organized them, but I don't know that they ever said it. I don't know. I don't remember anything negative, but it's a little bit bold, but you're a kid, so you're not, necessarily emotionally intelligent.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think I offended her.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So in your bio, it talks about how you've been a cosmetologist and a salon owner for decades. And I think you've mentioned like 37 years.
I know. Ancient.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, do you see cosmetology and organizing kind of as equals, like you're using the same kind of skills and abilities in both places, or do they nurture different parts of you?
Well, nobody likes a bad hair day, and I don't think people really like their clutter either. So both of them are feel-good industries where there's some immediate results, and I think everybody likes that about both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But it is about systems, having a good haircut and having product that works and having a maintenance routine with your hairstylist is a system in itself. And when you're doing your at-home care, having everything that you need within reach, easy to find. So that there's a flow to getting ready in the morning. That's organization. It's no different than physical organization in your kitchen or in your bedroom. For example, like if you're getting ready for your hair, getting your hair done, you've got your dryer, your brush, your product, your hairspray, your mirror, everything's there. Whereas just like in organizing in your bedroom, you're not walking from one end of the room to get your underwear and the other end of the room to get your socks and under your bed to get the shoes and into this closet over here to, look for your pants, and then in the drawers are your tops. I mean, that's just like zigzagging all over the place, not very efficient. So efficiency in both are key, and the key to that is having a system and good habits.
Yeah. Okay. So after being a cosmetologist for so many years,
Yes.
How did you decide to kind of transition or add organizing into your repertoire of talent?
Exactly. Right. Well, I started a business just organizing wardrobe closets. And while I was organizing the wardrobe, actually it was styling. Sorry, rewind. It was styling people's wardrobe. And the deal was visual resume and helping women transition into who they are today, letting go of their yesteryears, and just representing confidence. So because I have the cosmetology background, I also was selling premier jewelry at the time, which is high fashion jewelry. And I just had a sense of style and balance and proportion. So I decided, when I was at the jewelry shows, people would say to me, because of the presentation that I was making, I had a mannequin with clothing and jewelry. And I said, well, do you go into homes and help people with this? And my answer was no. And then I heard it enough of times. I thought, why the heck don't I do this? So thus I started this company called Style Wise, wisdom to knowing who you are, style, because it's really personal. It's like having that signature haircut that works for you all the time, is knowing what kind of clothing fit you. And, when you get those compliments, usually that's a good sign. Mm-hmm. So while I was out doing the styling, well, geez, I really couldn't style their wardrobe until I organized it, because I couldn't figure out what they had because their closets were so stuffed. So the organizing thing just happened as a result of having full closets. So while I was there, I would, be in other areas of their house. I'm not like, I got to walk through their living room, and you went to the bathroom, and their cabinet doors were open, and it's like, you could really use me in other areas of your house. So that was like tickling in the back of the brain. And then this big catastrophic mess happened in my life with my older sister and my only sister getting brain cancer. And it was a sudden onset. And so I shelved Style Wise and the jewelry business, and I went out to be with her for the final year of her life. And while I was there, my role was taking care of her, and my natural instinct of organizing kicked in, because there's a lot happening a lot of the times, and there's a lot of systems that, it's frenetic enough, and there's so much unexpected that happens that you better have your ducks in a row, or it just adds to it. Just getting ready to go to the hospital and having everything we needed was a whole system in itself. But then I started, she would say to me, I really wanted to switch these two couches around. I wanted my den couch in my living room and vice versa. Done, did it. So same thing. I really like a pop of color. I always thought it'd be great to just add some color to this room. Done, did it. This whole time we're going back to the San Francisco University Hospital, every day for chemo, and she was on trial drugs. So there was that going on, and oh, geez, and it was a constant spiral down, but we kept the order in the house. And I think a part of it was just trying to have some order somewhere in such a chaotic mess of a disease. And mess is not even the right word for it, but it didn't come up with the other one. So basically, try to summarize, is I made her house be the way she wanted it to be, always. And then she died. Hmm. And I came home, and after I got through a certain level of grief, why do we wait? Why do we wait to have our houses be the way we want them to be? Why do we wait until moving, until we get rid of excess stuff, until we clear our house of clutter, until we look around our house and don't see pockets of a pile here and there? Why do we do that? Because clutter is so draining. So that was the part of it with her, is she didn't want anything zapping her energy. She only wanted positivity around her. So anything that was her past, like, you know what, I'm done with that. We got rid of it. You know what, I never really liked that. We got rid of it. And with recycle and repurpose in mind, but the point was she wanted to create positivity around her. So she loved the color lavender. So we had lavender essential oils that we put on our wrists when we went to the hospital, whenever we sort of had some meditation quiet time. There was lavender diffusers. And so, you know, we made her bedroom, where she spent a lot of time, lavender. And yeah, so it is about that vibe of positivity. That's what you're trying to create in organizing. And that's the value that people tend to overlook. And so I'm trying to raise awareness that you really, just like the people who are around you, who you want to have a positive vibe, so too your surroundings, you want to have a positive vibe. There was a woman at a yoga class. She heard I was an organizer. I heard her talking behind me, and she said, yeah, you know, I just went through a big clutter, you know, getting clutter busting. And she said, so now when I come home, I look forward to it. My house is so peaceful because I got rid of all my crap.
Mm.
So positive energy, peaceful environment, live in your home the way you want it to be, an environment that brings you energy. So there's so much spiritual, emotional benefit in addition to the physical clutter.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I decided that was my new quest in life, was to help people to find that calm and peace and order in their home, to bring to them their best possible outcomes for whatever they're doing.
Yeah. Hmm. And as you're talking, I'm just hearing words like vibe, positive energy, you know, things like that. And, you know, it sounds beautiful. And yet for someone who's stuck in the clutter, you know,
Right.
how do you even think about getting started with something like that?
Right. It's really super hard. At the workshops that I teach, little speaking engagements here and there, the top two emotions associated with clutter are frustration and overwhelm. And everybody will go, yeah, that's me. There's a whole list of other negative emotions, but those are the top two. So it's super hard to get started. Well, hey, that's what I do. You know, I help you get unstuck. So, I mean, little sales pitch. I don't have to be there with you, because some people don't want me to see their clutter. They've got, you know, embarrassment or shame or whatever. And you got to know that I don't see it that way. I understand you do. But to me, it's what I do. You know, I help people move forward in their life. So it's really is just doing one thing at a time. Maybe start where it's most aggravating, whatever that is. Maybe it's your junk drawer. Maybe it's, you know, your area underneath your kitchen sink. Maybe it's the garage. I don't know. Wherever you would get the most emotional uplift from, that's probably where I would say to start. And you can't just tackle everything at one time. I have this thing called Fix in 15, and the concept is to just fix one thing a day that takes 15 minutes or less, and just do it daily until you start seeing that snowball, until, you know, so for example, your junk drawer. Well, maybe you just don't tackle the whole thing at one time. Maybe just in itself, go through the pens and or the pencils and or the highlighters. Just start with small achievable victories. And that would be my biggest suggestion, just to get yourself unstuck. I realize it's much, much more than that, but that's a good way to sort of kickstart things.
Mm-hmm. How do you think it is that people, that we, and I say people, but we, I mean, I have the same problem. How do
Yeah.
you think it is that we fall into this, I don't know, clutter issue? Like when I look
Right.
around, I used to be, I feel like I used to be really
Yeah.
organized. And yet
Hmm.
nowadays, it doesn't matter. It feels like it doesn't matter how many times
Yeah.
I've read up or anything. I look at my desk and it's always got something on it.
I
So,
know, me too. I know. My
how do
desk is, yeah, my weak spot. Well, decluttering it's hard for me too, and I even like doing it because life is constantly coming at you and faster than ever before. Information, more information than ever before. Now we have clutter in our emails, clutter in our Facebook, our messenger. I mean, LinkedIn, it's just you're bombarded. And then there's the physical mail. So there's just so much information coming at us all the time. There's so much more coming into our house. So it's not, it's a problem everybody has. I don't know if I would call it a problem. Well, yeah, it is. What I
it
guess
feels like a problem when you're in it?
yes, it's problematic. Okay, so kind of got off. So the question was, what? I forget.
So, yeah, so for someone who, for all of us, we have that, you know, now I'm like hesitant to use the word problem, but
Yeah,
issue, problem, whatever, habit, whatever you want to call it, of allowing clutter to pile
yeah,
up. And why is that? Like what
yeah.
makes the clutter happen?
Okay, okay. So what that was one of the things is we're bombarded. Time, we're crunched for time, um, and not having systems in place for the flow of information and goods.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming home from the end of your day, you come in the house with stuff, as does everybody else in your household. So where do you go with that? So immediately you've got to have a system as a holding area, or it needs to go somewhere. Otherwise, now we've started a pile. Um, so having systems for goods to flow. Okay, so for example, I had a client whose garage was cluttered, um, to the point where the floor was covered and couldn't use things. And part of it was they didn't have a system for getting what they purchased into the house, and they didn't really know where it went. So when I said to them, when I saw the paper goods, the Costco size paper goods, the toilet papers, the paper towels, for example, it was on the floor of the garage. And I said, well, do you have a place where you put this? She said, no. So it didn't go anywhere. It got in the garage, and then it got added to the pile. And after a while, you don't even know what you have. So things have to have a place. I think they might say where it lives, where it belongs. So it's having that habit then of once you establish where it belongs is not leaving it in your car or on the garage floor, but actually following through and putting it where it belongs. Designate an area where your paper goods go. And in most kitchens, unless you have a newer home, they're not Costco-sized cabinets. So I live in a 100-year-old home. We can't keep all the paper towels upstairs. We don't have the space. And the toilet paper. We don't have the space. So now I have got two systems. One is I don't want to go in the basement in the Costco shelving every time I need something. So then I have a smaller area where I might keep 8 toilet papers and 8 paper towels. But the rest of that whole bundle you bring home is in the basement at a designated area. That's the only thing that belongs there. So when I need more, I know where to go. It's that kind of a thing of developing where it belongs and where do you find it, and that it just has to become automatic so that you don't have to think about it. So it's a routine, it's a habit, and the reward of that habit is being able to find what you're looking for easily without aggravation and not wasting time. There's freedom in that. That's a repeat. There's freedom in that. And that's the value of being organized. And if you miss that last part of no negative emotions and having the freedom from not being able to find what you're looking for, having time for other things as a result. If you're missing that point, you probably won't stay organized.
So seeing the value and the freedom, I heard you say that a couple of times, of
Right.
having everything in its place, having everything have a home. And
Yes.
initially, what came to mind as you were talking about that is like my car keys. A lot of people talk about
Oh,
losing car keys.
right. Sure.
So I'm just curious,
Yes,
do you have a little tip for how to keep your
I
car
do.
key?
I do. Yeah. Well, we have on top of the refrigerator, there's a box,
Okay.
and that's where the car keys go,
As
in the
soon as you
box,
walk in the house?
every single time.
Okay.
Well, but however, life's not perfect. There's an occasion where it's gotten left in a coat pocket. So it's not about perfection. This is a good point to bring that up. Excellence, okay. Mediocrity is rampant, excellent is rare. Strive for excellence. You're not going to be perfect. You're still going to lose your car keys. You're still going to lose your glasses off your face. You're still going to misplace things. But it really gets down to a minimum. And then you don't panic and you don't get into this hectic, where is it? You're able to just I know it's here. I just came in the door and didn't follow the routine. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm human. And then when you calm down, you can say, oh, right, I did come in the door and had that coat on, and there it is. So again, systems, administrative systems, system for your hair, system for your keys.
Yeah. And that to me almost feels like to be able to use that moment where you lose the car keys, even though you have a system, as a reminder of the value of being organized and having a place for everything.
Yeah, because it really, we all hate that. It's not quite the fear of when you can't find your wallet. It's not that kind of fear, but
Yeah.
I gotta go. Where are my gosh darn keys? Shoot, now you're ramping it up. You're feeling the tension rise, the blood pressure rise, and everybody who's listening to this would have adjectives to describe that feeling of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I gotta go. I can't find it. Now I'm gonna be late. And then if you can't shake that emotion off, then it kind of follows you throughout your day. You're gonna hit the red lights as you're trying to get to work. You're gonna get there and someone ahead of you took your parking space. So it is recognizing that it's all about trying to stay in the zone of positivity.
Yeah.
Being organized supports that.
Yeah, as you were talking about that, and I keep getting chills down my legs. So it feels like truth to me that when your day starts out with that chaotic, oh my gosh, I can't find it, how it can affect your entire day.
Right. It's a choice. It's a choice.
Absolutely.
It have to. Right. And so is a choice to be organized. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So a little bit rewinding is, if you're in that point of being overwhelmed and frustrated, even if it's not me, if it's a friend or another organizer, it really helps to have that person there who can help move you along, because you do get stuck. And once you get into the groove of getting rid of things, then you kind of want the space over the things after a while, because you realize, oh, it feels so good to not have that full closet of the sardined clothing. Or I have a project right now. I have too many candles. I love candles, and you get candles as gifts. I don't use them. What am I hanging them on to them for? I need the space for other things. And understanding how space is open energy, and when you have too much stuff, it actually is like an energetic dam blocking back the flow of positive energy to you. It's a physical block, as well as then it's emotional and spiritual as well. So my craving of the habit of organizing, the endorphins that I get is having space, and knowing that I'm doing everything to bring to me that which I'm looking to attract into my life. So space is an energetic pathway to those things arriving. Clutter is going to block that. That's why quite often with many of my clients, I wouldn't say many, I would say really every single one, when we start getting rid of their stuff, the things that they've been working towards, or maybe had in the back of their brain. One person even started dating somebody, and it's just quantum physics. Somebody else got the job that they wanted. So the quickest and easiest way to attract something new in your life and something that you really want in your life is to get rid of excess stuff. It's been touted by nationally known coaches. The quickest and easiest way to attract what you really want in your life is to get rid of excess stuff.
And to me, it feels like that excess stuff could be anything physical in our environment and any clutter that's going on up here too. It feels like they're connected somehow.
Clutter's many things. Clutter is relationships that are kind of worn out and tired, and you don't let go of them. Clutter is having too much stuff on your calendar, too many appointments, too many networking events, too many. Well, let's see. What are some of the other things that clutter is, outside of physical clutter? I should know this, but I'm losing it. I'm kind of jumping off to what is space,
Yeah.
Space is elbow room. Space is not being crowded in any way. But I'm kind of, it's not rolling off my tongue. So let's jump to the next thing.
That's okay.
I might come back.
Yeah, it's okay. Can I just share a little analogy? One of the things that I think of when we talk about clutter is that, at least for me, when I look around and I see a bunch of clutter, it feels very closed and very, it's like stagnant and like frozen in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, that I've heard that compared to like a pond where like the green stuff starts growing because it's not moving.
Yeah.
And the minute you can create like the flow of, in that case, water, but in the clutter's case, energy, where you can start to move that again, it begins to clear all that green stuff out and it becomes purified again, that water. So that I love that analogy. Yeah. Okay.
That's a good one. I don't need to say anything. You take over.
Oh my goodness. So I guess what would you say is your perception of the biggest obstacle to creating organization in space?
For people who do not have a high hoarding tendency, we all have hoarding tendencies. That's why we have clutter. But some people, it really is affecting the ability to use rooms in their homes. It's affecting their families' relationships. So outside of that set of people and their clutter, a big obstacle is, I would say, understanding the value of being organized and what's behind that. Maybe they didn't learn it as a kid. My parents were German, so and of the Depression, so we took care of things, and part of taking care of things was putting it where it belonged. We were not allowed to ride our bikes and leave them out in the lawn overnight. We were taught to put things away. When you're finished with it, put it away. And it was kind of a respect for the person who gave it to you, as well as, just the abundance. And, you can go on and on up to God, up to, yeah. So the other thing is priority. I think people tend to relegate organizing to the last thing on the maintenance list. We'll do everything else, but not get organized. And the problem with organizing is it just gets worse and worse. The more you ignore it, the more it piles up. It just doesn't go anywhere. So I actually tend to be a little more organized than I am clean. Like right now I need to vacuum a rug and I'm seeing dust on the top of a tabletop. what bothers me more is the clutter. My place is organized, except for my office. Can't keep up with. It's a priority, and so when it's too much it's kind of like a recovery process, more or less. People will try to do it themselves, and I think it's just so hard. I mean, probably anybody listening in could say, yeah, I got started and then I never finished it. And that's typical, because there's just so much to do. But I'm telling you that the organizing piece and creating space is so key to your life flowing, and not forcing things to happen, but allow it to flow. So I think people need to get their families somehow involved. If you're single or married, that's one thing. If you have kids, it's a whole nother level of systems. But it's possible. And I think just like, I'm not comparing kids to dogs, but I am comparing rules to rules. Is, when you set rules for your dog, they get it. They know what they're supposed to do. And I think maybe, it's possible that more rules need to be set with kids, about how they maintain their belongings, respectfully. And I will say another problem with clutter, and this isn't totally related to your question, but we overconsume. We just buy too much stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's just become a part of our culture. Yeah. And having too much stuff. Like, what do you need 20 teas for? I like tea too, but you become so used to it. So okay for 20 teas if that's your thing, but then it's like everything else is, it's like my candles. Like I have too many candles, and we just have become so desensitized to over consuming that we don't even know that we're doing it anymore. And it's just our culture. So it's a counterculture thing to say enough. I mean, when is enough enough? How many more shoes do you need? That's only a question that you can answer. But it seems to me that when your closet floor is covered with shoes and they're dominoing out into other areas of your home, that, when is it enough? So there's a lot of anxiety behind our over consuming as well. I'll be more valuable. I'll feel more confident when I have X, when I have this pair of X. And it's just about so many things. I think the biggest obstacle is prioritizing it. And if there's no value that you can assign to it, if there's no emotional endorphin to being organized, you won't be. Mm-hmm. Just won't be.
Boy, as you were talking, there's so many stories that came up in my own life and with the life of my clients that, came to the top of my mind as you were talking. And initially I was thinking, oh, maybe I should share that, but I think that would go on way too long. So I'll just keep moving.
I like your stories. I love stories.
Well, okay. So with the kids, because one of the things that I was thinking about is, it's easier to keep ourselves organized.
Yes.
But if you have a significant other or kids living in the house, it becomes much more challenging.
Yes.
And just to kind of expand on your, I think you use the word rules, that if dogs can learn rules, so can kids. And I just wanted to share that probably 2 years ago, maybe, I was just in this constant state of overwhelm because I was doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, all the XYZ, picking up after the kids. So, I started thinking about, okay, what can I do to ask the kids to be more helpful in things like this? So I have a box now in a bench in the kitchen. And anytime they're away that I walk around to clean and find their things, it all goes in the box. And then it's their responsibility to clean the box out.
Yes.
And just to take it a little further, I mentioned multiple times to them how and I love my kids, don't get me wrong,
Sure. Oh, yeah.
how when I do the laundry, things were like inside out, and not just
Yeah.
inside out, but half inside out and half right side out. So it was like almost impossible to fold.
Yes.
So I essentially gave him an ultimatum. I said, listen, either it's right side out, or
Yes.
you're going to start doing your own laundry.
Right. Good.
And in one weekend, I found clean clothing in both of their hampers. So now we rotate doing the laundry. All three of us, both my daughter's 10, my son is 12, and they
Yeah.
each take turns doing the laundry. And they're to the point now that they don't even complain about it. It's just part of the
Yeah.
process.
Habit.
Yeah. And
Habit.
yeah.
The benefit is clean laundry, and my mom's not ticked off at me.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've signed a benefit to the habit.
And
So
they're learning. They're learning how to do that because someday they'll need to know that anyway.
it's important. Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you mentioned something about the box, and and containers are a big deal in organizing. I love containers. That's why I became an organizer. I just love containers. I love baskets. I love canvas containers. I love containers. So yeah, maybe even having your kids help to pick out the container, like when you come in the door, this is your bin. And then when the bin gets full, okay, so, there's the rule. There's the boundary is the bin is full and it's time to distribute.
Mm-hmm.
And so isn't it enough to provide the bin so that it's contained and they know that this is their area? But yet we will always, as humans, we're always going to push that level. We're always going to fill that bin and push the buttons, right? We just take things to the maximum. But then I think it's just a nice thing. Hey, it's full. You know what that is? That signal. Okay, there's the cue. There's the cue for the habit. The bin is full. Okay, so that triggers what routine to put into place, which means I got to put stuff away. And the benefit to them is I don't have my mom nagging at me, right?
Yeah.
The benefit to them, well, anyhow. I digress. I went to the laundry thing. But yeah, have bins, and if you can help them pick them out. I mean, I have a bin for my husband. When he comes home, this is where his watch goes, this is where his mail goes, and whatever else he brings in the door. It's like, the kitchen is not, it may be a drop zone. Okay, you have to have drop zones, but it doesn't mean it stays there. But I get it. We come in, we have a purse, we have bags, we need a place to drop it. It doesn't stay there.
Yeah. I love that the point you brought up about allowing them to have their own bins, separate bins, and that they get to choose them, because then at least they have some say in it. And that's helpful actually, because I had one bin and then they would argue about whose is what, so I didn't have to put it away. You know what I mean?
Right. And have your daughter go along and pick out her bin,
Yeah. That's fun.
It's okay for you to say, yeah, well, my kitchen's, tan, so let's make it natural, or whatever. It's okay to set parameters and boundaries. It's really okay. I guess maybe that's what organizing is in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
About other bin systems, but you get the drift.
Yeah.
And sometimes another rule that I have to try and keep my office from not getting as cluttered as it does, just because I usually have several things going on at one time and I need to see them. I can't have them filed away. I need to see what I'm working on. Is I open my mail in the kitchen. That's the drop zone area, and mail that isn't applicable to what I'm doing, like junk mail, it doesn't go upstairs. So I don't get all this pile of mail upstairs. I only take upstairs what is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's important. I guess that's the word.
Yeah. Okay.
And, I have a bin for, these are magazines. Boom, there they go. When the magazine's full, got to get rid of them. And you can recycle them at McDonald's. So that's another thing.
Good to know.
Yeah, if you have a question of where to recycle things, I have figured that out, and I always learn more. But it feels good to be able to recycle and repurpose.
Yeah, that's great. I never knew what to do with magazines, so but
Yeah,
they
yeah,
used
they took it
to.
to the McDonald's house.
Okay. Oh, the Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
magazines, not catalogs, magazines. But there is an app called Earth 911,
Okay.
and it's free. And you put in your zip code so it knows your location, and then it has different categories. So you would press household, and then it would say mail, and then the next drop down is magazines, and then it'll tell you where to take them within a certain radius of your zip code.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's not as thorough. There's a lot that could be added to it. I almost thought it would be a really good idea to have just a 911 just for Lancaster County, Earth 911. There's so
Yeah.
much information with nonprofits that isn't on there.
Mm,
I believe I believe it's the McDonald's on Manheim Pike. There's a drop box behind the
cool.
McDonald's. Yeah,
Okay. All
near
right.
Parks. That one.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. All right. So I've heard you mention a couple times habit. And I
Yeah.
also heard you mention earlier about, just taking 15 minutes at a time, start small. So do you have any, tips or tricks on how to integrate those little 10 or 15-minute projects into habit?
Yeah, I try to introduce the new segment of try to introduce that new habit of 15-minute fixes into a routine that you already have established. And routines like shower, like getting ready to go out the door, or what do you do in between your first and second cup of coffee? If you really thought about it, you probably have a routine that you do it the same way every day without thinking about it. And so it just happens automatically. It's like that thing when you're driving in the car and you're driving home and you've been, kind of thinking about other things you don't even remember getting there. That's like habit packaging. You become so automatic. Our brains are made in such a way that they're always looking for an easier way to do things to expend less energy. So that applies to habits and routine. It's your brain's way of reserving energy. Tying your shoes. Remember how hard that was? You had to think about every step of the way, overlap, and you don't have the dexterity in your hands, but also the order of how you do it: cross, loop, pull, loop, turn. I mean, if you broke it down as well, I don't know, 10 steps, whatever, but you don't even think about it anymore. Now it's just become automatic. Same like with brushing your teeth. You used to have to think each step through, every single little thing. So adding, for instance, just fluffing the pillows on the couch and folding the TV blankets. Oh, there's my dog. Folding the TV blankets and putting them, I have mine in a bin, so the rolled part sticks out. So it looks nice. It's where they belong. They're not on the floor, or so that's a habit. Maybe in between your 2 cups of coffee, you do the morning dishes. Um, all these little things that after a while it's just routine. So try to habit package regaining order in your home, particularly day-to-day things, either in your morning or your evening routine. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just thinking through my head what my routines are and where would I put in. Like, one of the things that I do is when I don't have coffee, I usually have tea.
Yeah.
But I stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And during that 2 minutes, here's
Right.
this that could be cleaned up in the kitchen. Here's
Yes.
something else that can be cleaned up in the kitchen. So just like what I'm around, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also, when is it that you decide out of your 1-day worn or 2-day worn clothing, what goes in the hamper? When do you decide that? I don't know. Maybe it could be a weekly thing. Okay. Well, I do my laundry, I try to have a rhythm. Like Monday, I try to get my laundry done, and I might do it on other days. But so if your laundry's all gathered in the laundry bins, and by the way, I have 2 bins, one for dark, one for light, and I put light on the right. That's another system.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mixed up. I mean, these are things I had to do because I have a husband. It's light. Hey, does light rhyme with left? No.
I never thought about that. That's great.
Yeah, light on the right, dark on the left. I have 2 separate bins, so I don't have to do any sorting. It's already sorted. Saves me time. Yoo-hoo. So yeah, that's a clutter area, is dirty laundry. And why is it on the floor? Why is it on the floor? And
Yeah.
kids put it on the floor because there's no system, because there's no place, because there's no rules.
One of the places that I really struggle is not with the dirty laundry, but with the clean stuff.
Oh,
Because I fold it all, put it in a laundry basket, and then it sits.
Oh God, I know. So that's another thing. Thank you for bringing that up. I will spend, and I suggest this, time on just finish. Don't start anything new. Finish doing the laundry. Finish cleaning out the candles. Finish unloading the car. Finish going through your mail. Just finish. And it's because we're constantly running and doing the next thing, and we don't pause to finish, and then we're cluttered. So I feel I kind of refer to it as, here's my Yorkie who's less than a cat.
Aww.
He's
He's so cute.
He's my buddy. Finish. I know it feels like strayed ends to me when I have too many things that are incomplete. It's just like frayed ends, and then I become frayed because there's too many things I haven't finished, and then it starts becoming clutter. And you don't get there's a lot of reward in finishing. I think we also maybe underestimate is to finish, is to complete. There's a lot of reward in that as well. So there's so many little things that add up, so finish.
Wow. Yeah, for me that really brings up there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yes.
And as you're saying that, I'm like, okay, I don't finish the laundry. Sometimes I come home and put the groceries on the counter. I'll put the frozen stuff and the refrigerated stuff away, but the other stuff will sit because I have to do something else.
Right.
And that how you do one thing is how you do everything. Do you finish things in your business? Do you finish the projects at work? Do you finish the books you're reading? All those things.
Right.
It all works together.
It does.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have, it's a practice I have put in because I'm better. I'm calmer. I'm better as a human being when I'm not frayed. And your house manifests your emotional state, or vice versa. I'm a very creative person, so I have to really consciously work on completing. Don't start anything new. And I even say to my husband, no, we're not starting anything new. No, don't go buy gardening plants, because then there it sits and I have to get it done. There's one more thing that I don't have finished. You got to finish raking out the leaves from last fall before we go buy new plants, because it's just going to feel like one more unfinished thing. Now I got 2, right? Now I haven't finished cleaning out the gardens because now I have to put these annuals in, and I bought too many and I run out of time, and now that's not finished. So we do it to ourselves. It's just knowing who you are and recognizing we all have limitations. So finish. That's a big thing for clutter. Yeah. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Yes, her name, well, I don't know if it was hers, but I heard it from her. It was Lucinda Murphy. She's the coach. And that's big things is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And food for thought.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that we haven't talked about? Yes.
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think so. Where are we on our time?
Yeah,
Don't know.
I'm not sure exactly what time we started, but I think we're right around the 50-minute mark or something like that.
Yeah. I would just say, I just encourage you to free yourself from the burden of too much stuff. Things will flow into your lives. And hire me. Hello.
So that's
717-917-7787. Orderandspace.net. What?
I think I was talking when you were saying that, so I wanted to ask, how do people get a hold of you? So I'm going to stop talking, and can you give that information again?
War. Zip. I love that Bitmoji with the zip. 717-917-7787 is my phone. I also receive text messages. My email is camille@orderandspace.net, and I'll spell that. My name is spelled CAM, like in Michael, ILLE, at order and, you have to spell out the and, space.net. And you can also contact me off of my website. There's a contact page, and feel free to go on there, and there's video and text, and you can learn about the different packages I offer, phone consulting that I offer. There's a Fix in 15 list. You get the first one for free. That's a fun thing to do. That's a really easy, fun thing to do, and a great gift for somebody who has everything, or just a friend, and it's all printable off the website, as well as gift certificates for that person who has everything. Or you can ask your husband, this is what I want to clean up this stuff. But orderandspace.net.
Very cool. Thank you so much for sharing yourself and your knowledge and your energy with us today.
Welcome, welcome. My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you, Mindy.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. She's a, well, I want to say she's a rock star. You're just glowing. Doesn't she glow? Like to be around glowing people. Oh, look, by the way, look at this halo back here.
It's gorgeous. You have that like, sunshiny, bright.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're
Have
welcome.
a wonderful day.
I shall. Likewise.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.